Hello, I am Claudia Castaneda and I am the Technical Director for Animal Nutrition for Engrain. Today, I would like to answer some frequently asked questions about the use of our probiotic eMAX in animal production. One of the first questions that we get is if antibiotics and probiotics can be utilized at the same time. Before I answer this question, I would like to explain that eMAX is a commercially available product that contains different strains of bacillus in spore form. In this spore form, these bacillus are basically in a dormant state that allows them to exist in a dehydrated state for an extensive period of time. Now, these spores can become vegetative under the right conditions, which usually happens after they have been consumed or digested by the animal host. Now, as a spore, these probiotics are very interesting because they will tolerate different conditions, such as differences in pH, the presence of bile salts, differences in pressure, high and even low temperature, and the presence of different antimicrobial compounds or antibiotics. In most cases, we can use probiotics and antibiotics at the same time, although there are some limitations. Nevertheless, it's important to consider that with bacillus-based probiotics especially, we might not need to use antibiotics as well, since these probiotics are known to secrete different antimicrobial substances. They're also known to enhance immune exclusion of different pathogens and even compete with pathogens for sites of attachment or even nutrients that might be available in the gut. It's also important to consider that there is a trend worldwide to reduce the use of antibiotics in animal production. So we might as well explore and exploit all of the benefits that we can obtain with the use of probiotics based on bacillus, such as eMAX. Another frequently asked question is if a producer is already using a prebiotic, such as a yeast cell wall, will they still benefit from feeding a probiotic? Now, the short answer for this is yes, but let's look at it in more detail. A prebiotic is basically a non-digestible feed ingredient that can affect the host, beneficially affect the host, by different mechanisms. The first one is to stimulate the growth of different bacteria that can be present in the gut, usually beneficial bacteria. Now, prebiotics are usually known as yeast cell walls, and these components are made up of different non-digestible carbohydrates, such as oligosaccharides, monoligosaccharides, among others. Now, the big picture is that prebiotics basically act by supplying nutrients to beneficial microbes, to beneficial or probiotic bacteria. Another mechanism of action of these prebiotics is that they prevent pathogens from attaching to the gut or to the intestinal epithelium or mucosa. So basically, the pathogens that are infecting the bird or could be in the gut attach to the prebiotic, thus they prevent them attaching to the gut and prevent infections from happening or these pathogens from proliferating. On the other hand, we have probiotics, which are basically a live microbial or live bacteria, which can beneficially affect the host if administered in the adequate amount. This is the main definition that we know of probiotics. We know that they improve the intestinal balance and the concentration of bacteria or probiotic bacteria that can be used varies depending on the strain and of the objectives that the producer wants to reach. We talked a little bit about the mechanisms of actions of different probiotics, but we know that when we look at the main picture is that we have three different components, such as competitive exclusion. So similarly, prebiotics and probiotics can prevent pathogens from colonizing the gut. Now, probiotics can also produce their own set of antimicrobial peptides and or compounds that also help reduce pathogen presence. We also know that probiotics can also stimulate the immune system, which also protects the bird from any incoming challenges. Therefore, the answer to the question is that yes, prebiotics and probiotics can be used together because probiotics actually utilize the prebiotic as feed to promote their own growth and activity. And this actually can be even more beneficial to a probiotic because they will be having an enhanced growth or an even better production of the substances that we're interested in. Now, it's very interesting actually to combine these two strategies because these could make them stronger when working together. If we combine the correct strategies, then we could find the perfect solution or the perfect alternative to growth promoters or antibiotics in poultry or swine production. Another frequently asked question is, what is the expiration time or date of eMAX? Well, as I mentioned in the first question, bacillus contained in eMAX are in spore form, which means that they are dormant, and this allows them to exist in a dehydrated state indefinitely. However, there are different factors to consider with a commercially available product. This product is produced in Kansas, and then it's transported, shipped to different places in the world. Now, due to transportation and packaging conditions, storage conditions once it reaches its location, storage of the package once it's open, could lead to different variability in the product's effectiveness over a long period of time. It's also important to consider that the product is not only the probiotic bacillus, but also other ingredients such as a carrier and anti-caking agents that could also influence the longevity or the stability of the commercial product. For this reason, we have established that the shelf life of eMAX is of 1 year if following the adequate storage conditions to prevent product agglutination, such as maintaining adequate temperatures below 25 degrees Celsius in order to maintain the optimal activity of the actual bacillus spores once they are added to the feed, consumed by the bird, and as they go through the whole process of becoming vegetative cells to activate and release all of these different components that are beneficial for the bird.